Hello. Okay. The video, please, the intro video. Media team. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, so welcome to day 2 of our conference. I'm pretty sure I had an opportunity to have a conversation with the majority of you yesterday. And of course, you also saw me here as a presenter. And I'm pretty sure we're now here to hear more about African Language Conference, to learn more, teach even other people about what we already know about African languages and how we can effectively, use it to our benefits as Africans. Yeah, so my name is Miriam Owingawie, and I am your MC for today, which means that I'm going to be doing introductions, and also, since we don't have a dancing troupe today, we are going to be the dancing troops ourselves. So everybody should be ready to show us the dancing moves from their tradition. We just want to learn more. Yeah, so before we go any further, I want to take a moment to honor the people who made these days possible. To our co-founders and directors, Avishta Siras and Adina Mara Kulibari, thank you. Thank you to our design, conference, live stream, and interpretation teams, our local organizing committee, all volunteers, book exhibitors, food vendors, and our partners and sponsors. Silicon Valley at Stanford University, African Languages Consultancy, and African Translation. To our distinguished guests from the Bureau of Ghana Languages, to our speakers and panelists, and everyone and every single delegate in the room and online, thank you for being here. Now, I want to talk about some of the housekeeping points. So we have interpretation available for sessions delivered in African languages. Channel 1 is English. Channel 2 is African language that probably the speaker is using. Please check your receivers if you haven't checked. And if you don't have it and you know that you will need it, kindly check with the people in charge. And those in charge kindly help the people in the conference to have the gadgets. For the restrooms, I'm pretty sure a majority of you know where they are, but it's just at the left of the conference hall in case you need it. We also have water at the back of the conference. We have water dispenser, so you can probably use your bottle or use the cups they have available for you. And for the phones, be advised that you put it in the silent mode because we just want to speak African languages, not phone ringtones. Thank you. So we are live on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook right now. If you know somebody who should be watching, send them a link so that everybody can know what is happening in University of Ghana, an African language conference. Yes, and we also have lunch, just like we did yesterday, so we will be guided when time comes so that we all keep on being comfortable and enjoying. We also have book exhibition at the back of the conference, so you can visit, buy books, get to know what African authors are doing in African languages. Yes, so, and also please take pictures for memories, posts on LinkedIn, Instagram, any social media that we will use, and make sure you give us a tag, AFLC, African Language Conference 2026. Yes, so looking at yesterday, yesterday was something really, really special. We opened this conference right here at ISSER Conference Hall, University of Ghana, here at Legon. And from the very first moment, it was clear that this was not going to be an ordinary 2 days. And of course, if I don't pronounce your names properly, I really apologize. Yeah. Yes, so we had Prof. Kwasi Adamako of the University of Education, Winneba, set a stage with a keynote that traced the journey of Ghanaians' indigenous languages from their rich pre-colonial roots all the way into their digital future. And Dr. Nana Amina Wiafe Akente of the University of Ghana reminded us that with precision and passion, the language is not just a heritage. It is economic power, it is social infrastructure, it is the architecture of belonging. We had a rich panel discussion on language rights with voices from the College of Languages of Education at UEW who didn't let us stay comfortable. In this session, Piwe, Skebo, and Dr. Naledi brought us into classrooms, specifically into mother tongue-based multilingual education, and showed us what it looks like when policy and practice actually meet. Thimen, my colleague, brought a perspective on African languages with the music and creative industry that had this room bustling. And then, of course, I also presented about what Chingura is doing and how we are trying to transform African lives through giving them education in African languages. Yeah, so, but perhaps also you remember that we had an amazing session where we got introduced to an upcoming collaboration that is going to change African languages into text spaces. It was a joint AFLC Silicon announcement, a new collaboration that is, I can tell, that sets a very exciting tone to what's coming next into African language in text space. So if you missed it, you can talk to Adi Koulibaly and Audrey for more information. And yes, also, yesterday really set the bar high, and it gave us a foundation, and we are going to continue from there to today. So here is what day 2 holds for us. This morning we begin with Dr. Gabriel Ayelo, and again, if I don't say the name correctly, I apologize. Exploring African languages as a cultural capital and economic power. Then Professor Binyam Sisa Mendusu, who challenges in Amharic on paradox of language in education policy in Africa. And then Sadiki Sahadu will take us into a hands-on workshop in Dojani. Is that how they say the language? Is it Dojani? I don't know. He will tell us when he comes here. In Dojani. On building speech technology through Mozilla Common Voice. After lunch, Rahuma Tekela, she was our MC yesterday, so you know her, returns to the stage this time as a presenter to explore the rise of Kiswahili Dublin in Tanzanian creative economy. And we close the day with a powerful panel discussion on education transformation, bringing together distinguished voices from the University of Education, Winneba, and Bureau of Ghana Languages. Today we move across cultural capital, education policy, artificial intelligence, creative economies, and multilingual transformation. So this is a full day. I hope you enjoy it. So before I introduce the first speaker, I would like you to know that at least make sure you teach somebody close to you a word from your local language, because we are in African Language Conference. So it's a shame if I come here and go back with my Kinyarwanda, please. So if you have a local language that somebody sitting next to you doesn't know, at least teach them how to say language, just language in your local language. Is that okay? Okay, who are here? I'm pretty sure, do you all speak Twi or other different languages? I'm pretty sure you have different languages. So at least teach somebody a word language. So later in the day, I'll be asking somebody what somebody next to you taught you. So if you don't know, it means there is a problem. Yeah? Audrey, is that clear? All right, so thank you. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Gabriel Ayelo. He is a distinguished scholar of African languages, literature, intercultural studies. He earned his PhD in comparative literature and intercultural studies from the University of Georgia, and also hold degrees from the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and the University of Auburn. He currently teaches at the University of Michigan and serves as the president of African Languages Teachers Association. Today, he will present on African languages as cultural capital, reclaiming economic power. Please join me to welcome him. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Good morning. All right, so it's a big privilege to be here and to speak about something very germane to all of us as Africans, as stakeholders, as people who owns their own narratives. All right, so I'm going to begin my speech this morning hinging upon what Ngugi wa Thiong'o wrote in 1986 in his popular book titled Decolonizing the Mind. And when Ngugi was talking about decolonizing the mind, he was actually not only talking about decolonizing our educational system, but he was also talking about reclaiming indigenous languages and valuing African knowledge systems, restoring cultural dignity, and resisting mental dependency on colonial standards. These are the issues that Ngugi was actually pushing forward. And he was true to himself that he stopped writing in English, so he chose to be writing in Gikuyu, his own mother tongue. And I had the opportunity of having a conversation with him. And one of the questions I asked was, what if others are unable to read Gikuyu? And he said, let them go and learn Gikuyu so that they can be able to read what we have written in our own language. So for Ngugi wa Thiong'o, language is like a battlefield, and it carries both culture, memory, identity, and worldview of people. So against this backdrop, I'm going to be speaking this morning about African languages as cultural capital, reclaiming the economic power. Now, if I may ask us this morning, whether our audience online and on-site, what are some of those things that bring us together as a people, as Africans? And how do we capitalize on some of these things that unite us together as a people? Now, you will recall that we just recently concluded AFCON, isn't it? Yes. So football, soccer is one big deal all over the world that bring people together. And I was presenting at a particular conference, and I started arguing for having our football commentary run in all of our African languages, rather than having them run in English or in French. Now, some countries have been trying to do that, but I believe we can do better and do much more, so that a mother who lives in the hinterland, in the village, could be listening to the radio and understood what was going on between two countries playing soccer or football, as we may call it. And if that is done, and so now, some people argue and say, no, that is not going to happen anytime soon. You know why? And I said, tell me. And they said, you know, there are big players in these things. They will not allow that to happen. I said, the big player? Yes. Why? Because they like everything to be broadcast in English, in those Eurocentric languages, so that there can be more coverage. I said, no, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the Africans listening to the soccer commentary run in our local languages will be a very, very great thing. So it's one major economic point that Africans can tap into. All right, so let me quickly move. I guess I need help with my remote. All right, I have a backup. All right, so as a way of introduction, African languages are more than tools of communication, but functions as cultural capital. They carries the indigenous knowledge, cultural identity, creativity, and worldview. And despite their value, they remain underutilized in economic planning. For instance, African languages are often undervalued in formal institutions, creating what some scholars call linguistic imperialism, where speaking European languages confers more status despite African languages being spoken by hundreds of millions. Now, this, we have talked about it a lot yesterday, how some people feel like until you are able to speak English, until you are very proficient in French or German, that is the measure of your intelligence. But excuse me, I have a mother who has never been to the four wall of classroom, but speaks my language very well, smart enough to conduct her business, and could even write in my local language. who taught me how to read in my local languages. Now, do you want to tell me that she's not educated or she's not intelligent? No. So, we could begin to speak about redefining what education really even is in the first instance. Is it the formal, the four-wall education that we all receive that we call education? Now, I differ if that is what our definition of education is. Because if a mother can predict, very, very, very intuitively very good, that the old mother will say, oh, it's going to rain. But this is a woman who never learned geography or any form of, and predictably it will rain. And some days you begin to look at the cloud and say, oh, it's going to rain anytime from now. And the old woman will say, no, the rain will. Thank you. So, in other words, language is power, access, and economic opportunity. Now, when we look at language in this direction, then we are going to place more value upon our own indigenous languages. When we see it as power, when we see it as an access, when we see it as an economic opportunity, then we are going to take what is our own very well. A part of the point I like to make is that until we Africans own our own languages, then it's never going to do any good to us. And when I say owning our languages, what do I mean? I mean to say that until we come to a point whereby we know that our language is us and we are our languages, and that we are not defined by what other languages, foreign languages, imperialistic languages, Eurocentric languages say we are, then that is when we begin to make some significant progress. All right. So African languages as knowledge, repositories, and by indigenous science and medicine, environmental knowledge and moral social systems. I like to talk about this. Now, we understand that African languages are not just what we speak, but the whole general overview of who we are as a people that define what it is in terms of our indigenous knowledge system. And when people hear, I don't like to use the word traditional, okay, because that sounds very, very, ugly to define us or address anything that pertains to Africa as traditional. It's already setting a kind of polarism, which I disagree with. So I like to take it as indigenous. Now, indigenous means the knowledge of the people that is very native, that is owned by them. And how do we know this? We have our sciences. We have our technology as Africans. Now, before the so-called modernity as the target came, how has it been with our, great-grand ancestors? How have they been living their lives? How have they been able to conduct themselves? And research has shown that they have sophisticated science even before the modern four-wall classroom kind of science that we all have. All right. Now, so until we come to that level where we see that within our oral tradition, within our proverbs, our folktales, there is the knowledge therein. And this knowledge can only be shared, understood by our own languages. Until we come to that level, then we are not there yet. All right. Now, language and the creative economy. What are we talking about? Now, there is Nollywood, right? We're all familiar with Nollywood. A lot of films, and it's one of the largest in the world right now. And we realize that Nollywood is done in English and in some other African languages. Now, think of it this way. If a movie is made in Nigeria, for example, in Hausa or in Yoruba, one of the three official languages in Nigeria, and we have all of these movies, dubbed into, say, Swahili, into Twi, into Zulu, into all our African languages. So that by the time this is circulated across Africa, everybody is able to familiarize with what is going on in this movie instead of having our subtitling done in English. Now, if they make movie in Nigeria and they are selling it in Kenya and the subtitling is done in English, excuse me, we have not done well for ourselves. We have only come to promote what English says we should promote. And that speaks to the fact that maybe we begin to be thinking of ourselves as being inferior in terms of what our languages is capable of doing. And how about we have the movie producers in Tanzania and in Kenya, in Nigeria coming together, coming up with something that will serve the interest and the need of Africans. And so if anybody wants to have this anywhere in the world, then let them all do it in English. But at least we enjoy what we have as a people. That is a big market right there. That the subtitling of some of our movies and films could be done in our African languages rather than having them said in English or in French. Having said that, literature and storytelling. Now, some books are displayed right there yesterday as I was looking around and checking those books. They are written in African languages. And I could not read Twe. I could not read Toza or something. Or perhaps I can do some readings in Swahili. How about we have all of this book also translated into other African languages, rather than looking at translating it into English or French, so that I could be familiar and accustomed to what is culturally appropriate in Ghana, for example, or what is culturally competent in Kenya, for example. And these are some of the things we could be doing as part of reclaiming the economic power within Africa, using African languages. Now, rather than having our thought, our expression, translated into only English or German or French, we could do this within our own African languages. We could have it written, translated in Amharic, for example, in Wolof, and the rest of them like that, rather than only in English. These are economic power that we're talking about. How about fashion and digital content? Local language content has strong cultural authenticity, high audience engagement. And so, when we look at the fashion and digital content, how could this become an avenue for Africans to share, to enjoy, and reclaim, the capital economy in that? How should we do that? Now, there are a lot of times, a lot of version, that goes on, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in maybe Zimbabwe, and other parts of Africa. How about some of these things being done in local languages so that perhaps the contestant or whoever is the organizer will not only be doing it because they want the people to know that these people too can speak English. Now, how many of you will hire someone who speaks your local language and comes for an interview? And would you hire that person if the only language that individual could speak is indigenous language and not English? We said, no, we need to reach global audience. So we need somebody who can at least speak all English and at the same time speak the other language, that we have. Now, we should pay attention to this. Now, do you know, I went to buy Panadol Extra the other day. I was tired from the trip and I feel I needed to take some. So when I bought it, the first thing I read is instruction inside, even though I know I just need to take it for pain relief, right? So, but as I laugh again, because nothing has changed, because the instructions in it is written in English. And I say, for how long are we going to continue doing this? Why can't we also have those instructions in manual that is, in our medicine, in our gadget that we buy, also written in our own African languages? Now, if they are bringing anything to sell in Africa, why can't we say, you know what? Our people cannot read the language from which you made. Maybe they produce it in Sweden, and it is in English. Why can't we have a team of translators translating the entire content of what that medicine is about, what that medicine will do, into our various local languages? It is also economic power. But we don't have that yet. We always have it in English or French. And these are some of the salient issues where the African need to step up and engage the world. Not because you buy anything made from Japan, anything made from China, it is written in Chinese. If they want to do the work, they cannot make it to be written in English. Excuse me, why would that be happening? You buy a new phone or a new gadget or anything, you check the manual. It's never written in any of the African languages. But some of them, because they are sent to us, we import them. Is it import? Right. So, and they came to us. But we could also define in our market and say, well, for whatever thing we are going to buy from Japan, that is going to come to the shore of Ghana, then the instruction manual should be written at least in 2 different local indigenous languages of Africa, so that anyone that does not go to 4-wall classroom like you and I can as well take a look at it and read the manual and know what it is all about. And when we are talking about decolonizing, where I started from, according to Ngugi, we have to know that development that we're talking about, technological development, scientific development, there must be a point that we begin to see, why can't we build our own homes, our houses, using our own mud and bricks? Why do we have to import blocks from across? Why do we have to keep doing that? Now, can't we also come to a point whereby the kind of window, the kind of things that we're going to use in our house settings are very local to us? Why can't we come to that point? Why do we have to import all of them out there to our Africa? Now, the reason is because so many times we don't feel confident that we are capable of doing what we needed to do. Or perhaps we feel like the money that some people are going to get, by the time they do those things, they bring them in, they won't be able to stay up there if they don't get those money. But once they bring it in, they take a lot of money on top of that. Why can't we develop our local technology? Why can't we develop our local, our scientists? Why can't we develop all of these things so that at least the money that goes out, why can't we do buy Africa, leave Africa, and do Africa, rather than depending on buying or importing from across? It is not only languages, but also in terms of economic development. All right. When we look at Africa and the global creative economy, we are talking about, I was very impressed yesterday when I saw the Lupita maybe hype created on the something. I said, well, this is good. At least, it's a face. That we do not put one one white person there and say we are doing African languages. Now, this is a very good representation, at least, to show that we are who we are as a people, all right? So now, when we talk of global demand for authentic African narratives is also rising. And for some of us that are very active on social media, we should always tell our narratives in our own ways. Create content in our indigenous languages, not necessarily in English. Now, you'll be surprised that a lot of people, out of curiosity, we want to know what are they talking about, really? Because the content is done in a language they cannot speak or they don't understand. And until we are able to do that, and not trying to make them feel like, yes, we can also speak English. Excuse me, I don't struggle to speak English like the owner of English. As long as I can write correctly, as long as I will still speak the way I'm going to speak. A friend will say, you spent more than 10 years in the US. Can't your tongue always be? I say, what's wrong with you? Are you normal? Why do I have to do my tongue to roll it to? No, I don't want to do that. I am an African man, right? And that is my identity. So we should know that creating content in the global world as Africans could as well be done in our local languages, not only in English, right? Now, as I wrap up, all right. So that guy is not, that guy's decided not to move. All right. All right, so. Oh, okay, thank you. So, Nelson Mandela says, I'm going to be closing on that note, that to speak to a man in the language he understands, you are only speaking to his head. But speak to him in his own language, you are speaking to his heart. And I'm going to creatively paraphrase that by saying that I speak to you in your own language, but it is in mine that I understand yours. Now, what does that mean? Now, that I'm speaking English to us to do my presentation this morning, it does not mean it is English that I understand. The language that I understand is language that is in my blood, with which I process information, with which I transmit ideas, so that I can speak to you in the language you understand. In other words, the language that is strong, the language that I actually know, is not the English. It's the language that forms my core DNA, my local language. And on this note, I like to say that African languages are cultural capital, economic resources. They are tools for inclusive growth. And recognizing their value is essential for sustainable development, cultural preservation, economic empowerment. And reclaiming African language is reclaiming Africans' economic power. And on this note, I want to say thank you. Asante sana, eshe, and nagode, midazi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was very, very interactive. And actually, before you sit down, we have questions probably, so yeah. And it just reminded me how, does anybody of you dream in English? You dream in your local language, right? Exactly, so you should love your local languages. Yeah, so now we can move to questions, if you have a question for him.
Young man, thank you. Thank you for your words this morning. I am a Spanish speaker, colonized by Spanish in Africa, from Fernando Po. I am fighting to avoid the disappearance of my language, native language. I have read a lot. There is something that African head of state don't want to implement. The cultural charter for African, etc. You know that. Approved in the year 2006. That is a problem. Because they don't want to do what they have signed by themselves.
Right.
Until they do that, we'll always depend on European languages. We are now going to depend on Chinese languages with Confucius. We'll depend on Russian languages. We will never depend on our own languages. Until that, we will always be colonizing linguistically, economically, culturally,
right,
etc.
Right.
So what we are doing is great.
Thank you.
But the politician should do what they have to do.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. And while I agree with you on that, there is also a research that shows that the larger percentage of the problem we have with being authentic as Africans are basically caused by the educated elite, like you and I. Now, and that research shows that a lot of times we are the ones who feels my child must speak correct English, Queen's English. And we forget that they must as well be grounded in their own local, in their own indigenous languages. Now, if there could be a kind of reorientation for us as elite, as educated elite Africans, we can have a better push. Because those in power, they are from among us. We are classmates. We go to school together. We share ideology together, thought view. They are making decisions to remember their university classmate. That is, and so the same thing is kind of a, recycle, and the same ideology you and I have, they have the same. It doesn't matter, we need to get things done, That's what is going on right now. We don't need to look into what is what ours, So you and I, we need to be more proactive, more intentional, even with our own children and within our homes, by making them to know the truth and what is right about understanding their own indigenous languages as opposed to just English. I know my local languages first. I learned how to read English because I understand my local language. My mother taught me that, and I was never ashamed to say that. I found out early in primary 4 that all these things, they have the same sound in English. So I use sound in my language to translate to English. So whenever we are reading in classroom back then, I say, Mr. Giwa was a shopkeeper, keeper, pa. And I understand. So I begin to put my pen to write. So when it is my turn to read, I just read what I transcribe on top of it. And that's why I learned to read English, because I never went to any of those big, private, sophisticated primary school. Thank you very much, sir. Yes.
Thank you. For the sake of time, he's going to give you his contact so that you can have further discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you for the insightful session. Actually, that was really important. Like, I hear most Africans, we have this excuse that, okay, in my language, people have excuse that the language that we speak in Africa, they're not really rich in words, that if you want to use it for academic purposes, for example, we are not going to get words that are technical, But people don't know that the research shows that 80% of English, it is borrowed. Exactly. So you go and borrow and let's use it. Borrow and bring it. We will learn. Exactly. So it shouldn't be an excuse anymore. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Gabriel. I know that in Ghana, it's Gabriel, not Gabriel. In my country, it's Gabriel. Yes. So thank you so much. So now we are going to move to the next presentation, and it's going to be in Amharic. So if you don't have your gadgets, please, people in charge, they should help us get a gadget. The gadget, please. So as they are getting it ready, I hope you guys now know the meaning of language of the people you're seated next to. You should be talking to each other so that when time is right, you won't tell me that you don't know. Okay. Gadget, please. Okay, so as they're getting them ready, now I can ask you. Rahma, which language do you speak, please?
Lipapan.
Okay. So how do you say language in Lipapan? Is Lipapan? Mm-hmm. How do you say language in Lipapan?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you people should teach your fellow seatmates. Okay, you can now tell her. No, how do you say a word language in Lipapan? Exactly. So all right. Thank you so much. Since the luggages are ready. Yes, so allow me to introduce Professor Binyam Sia Mendusu, and again, if the name is not properly pronounced, I apologize. Yes, so he is a professor of African languages and linguistics and associate dean at African Institute in Saja. His research dives into language as an archive of local knowledge and memory, mother tongue education, and language policy. And he brings to that work in a depth and rigor that is genuinely rare. He will present to us in Amharic, so please, like I just said, check that it's properly working for you. And his topic will be whose ability to sustain and the paradox of language in education in Africa. So, like you can see, the title alone is very interesting. So, yeah, you should get ready to listen to him. Thank you so much. And actually, this is also personal to me because I am also into mother tongue education, like what I presented on yesterday, thekingura.com. So, I'm also very excited to hear what you're going to tell us. Thank you so much.
Too many things. The slides.
Hello. And also English is channel 1 for those who are still looking for it. Thank you.
በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ዛሬ የምናገርበት ርዕስ እንቆቅልሽ ሆኖ ሳይፈታ የዘለቀው የቋንቋና የትምህርት መስተጋብር በአፍሪካ የሚል ነው። ስሜ ቢኒያም ሲሳይ ይባላል። በአፍሪካ ጥናት ተቋም ግሎባል ስተዲስ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ሻርጃ የአፍሪካ ቋንቋዎችና ስነ ልሳን ትምህርት አስተማሪ ነኝ። መጀመሪያ የከበረ ምስጋና ለአዘጋጆቹ በማቅረብ እንድጀምር ይፈቀድልኝ። ብዙዎቻችን ደፍረን መጀመሪያ ቃተንን ነገር ያውም በአህጉርና በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ በመጀመራቸው ከፍ ያለ ምስጋና ይገባቸዋል። እንዲሁም አስተርጓሚ ሆኖ ለማገልገል ፍቃዱን የለገሰንን ዶክተር ሞገስ ይገዙን ከወገቤ ዝቅ ብዬ እጅ ነስቻለሁ። ዛሬ የማቀርበው ጉዳይ ብዙ አዲስ ነገር ላይኖረው ይችላል። እንዲያውም አንዳንዶቹ ሐሳቦች በትላንትና ውይይት ተነስተዋል፣ ዛሬም አሁን ተነስተዋል በገብርኤል። ነገር ግን ጉዳዩ በጣም የሚያሳስብ ስለሆነና የአፍሪካን ሕዝብ የመጪው ትውልድ ተስፋ የማለምለም ወይም የማጨለም አቅም ያለው በመሆኑ ሁነኛ መፍትሄ እስኪበጅለት ድረስ ተደጋግሞ መነገር ያለበት ርዕስ ሆኖ አግኝቼዋለሁ። በአጭሩ የጉዳዩ ማጠንጠኛ እንደሚከተለው ሊቀርብ ይችላል። አፍሪካ ውስጥ የሚነገሩ ቋንቋዎች በትምህርት ቤቶች ውስጥ የማስተማሪያ ቋንቋ እንዲሆኑ ብዙ ጥናቶች ቢሰሩም የፖሊሲ ምክሮች ቢዘጋጁም ጥቅማቸው በሰፊው ቢዘረዘርም ጥቅም ላይ አለመዋላቸው እያደረሰ ያለው ጉዳት እና እያስከፈለ ያለው ዋጋ በሰፊው ቢዳሰስም ነባራዊ ሁኔታውን ለመለወጥና ለማስተካከል ግን እዚህ ግባ የሚባል የተቀናጀና የተናበበ ጥረት ሲደረግ አይታይም። ስለዚህ ለምን እንዲሆነ ለምን ብለን ጥያቄውን ደጋግመን እንድናነሳ ሁኔታዎች ያስገድዱናል። በመሆኑም የዛሬው አቅርቦት ዋና ዓላማ የቋንቋ የትምህርት እና የልማት ጥያቄዎችን በተሰናሰለ መልክ አቅርቦ ጉዳዩም ለተጨማሪ ውይይት ክፍት ማድረግ፣ ተጨማሪ ጥያቄዎችን ለማንሳት እና ለአንዳንዶቹ ጥያቄዎችም ማብራሪያ አቅርቦ እንድንነጋገርበት ለመጋበዝ ነው። በዛሬው ውይይት ትምህርትና ልማት ወይም እድገት ያላቸውን ጥብቅ ቁርኝት ማስረገጥ ያስፈልጋል። ምክንያቱም የቋንቋ የትምህርትና የልማት ጉዳዮች በተናጥል እና በተቀናጀ መልኩ ደጋግመን ማንሳት መፈተሽ የሚያስፈልገን እንደ አህጉር ሀገርና ሕዝብ ብዙ ዋጋ እያስከፈሉን ስለሚገኙ ነው። በአንዳንድ ወገኖች እንደሚቀነቀነው የአፍሪካ ቋንቋዎች እያሉ መጮህ ጠባብ አጀንዳ ይዞ የአፍሪካ ቋንቋዎችና ባህሎች ያላቸውን ልዩ ባህሪ አጉልቶ ተማሪዎች በዚህ ዘመን ብዙ ዋጋ የሚሰጣቸውን ቋንቋዎች እንዳያውቁ ወይም ከተቀረው ዓለም ጋር ግንኙነት እንዳይኖራቸው ወይም ተወዳዳሪ እንዳይሆኑ ለማድረግ አይደለም። በተቃራኒው የአፍሪካ ተማሪዎች እምቅ የሆነ ኃይላቸውን በራሳቸው ቋንቋ ጀምረው በትምህርት አጎልብተው ዓለም ላይ ተወዳዳሪና ንቁ ተሳታፊ እንዲሆኑ የሚያስችላቸውን መንገድ ለመጠቆም ነው። እዚህ ላይ ጃርሶ ሞት ባይኖር የተባለ ጉምቱ ኢትዮጵያዊ ጸሐፊና ደራሲ በአንድ መጽሐፉ መቅድም ላይ ስለ ቋንቋ አስፈላጊነት ሲጽፍ ያሰፈረውን ልጥቀስ። ምን ይላል? ቋንቋውን ያጣ ሕዝብ ጩኸቱን የተቀማ ነው ይላል። ከዛም አስከትሎ ቋንቋውን የተቀማ ሕዝብ አድራሻም መዳረሻም የለውም፣ አድራሻም መዳረሻም የለውም ብሎ ይገልጸዋል። ከዚያ በማስከተል ጸሐፊው ምን ይላል? ቋንቋ የሚለው የአማርኛ ቃል መሰረቱ ነቀወ ወይም ጮኸ የሚለው የግዕዝ ቃል እንደሆነ በመግለጽ አንድ ማህበረሰብ ቋንቋውን ሲያጣ ጩኸቱን ወይም ድምጹን እንደተቀማ እንደሚቆጠር ይተነትናል። ስለዚህ የቋንቋ ጉዳይ እንዴት ለልማት ዋና ጉዳይ እንደሆነ ማየት ይቻላል። ስለዚህ ቋንቋ በአማርኛ ላንጉጅ ማለት ላንጉጅዝ ቋንቋ Miriam to your question. ባለፉት ጥቂት አስርተ ዓመታት በአፍሪካ እየተወሰዱ ያሉ የትምህርት ማሻሻያ እርምጃዎች በተጨባጭና በጥቅሉ ሲታዩ ምን ይመስላሉ? እንግዲህ ትኩረቴ በዋናነት በቅድመ ልጅነትና በአንደኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ጋር በተያያዘ ነው። በእኔ እይታ ሁለት የሚጻረሩ እውነታዎች ሊገለጽ ይችላል። አንደኛ ባለፉት ጥቂት አስርተ ዓመታት የትምህርት ተደራሽነት በሚያስደንቅ ፍጥነት ተስፋፍቷል። ይህም ይበል የሚያስበል ነው። ለማስረጃነትም ብዙ ጥናቶችን በዋቢነት መጥቀስ ይቻላል። በተቃራኒው ደግሞ የትምህርት ጥራት በሚያስደነግጥና በሚያሳስብ ደረጃ አሽቆልቁሏል። ይህንን ሐሳብ የሚደግፉ ብዙ ጥናቶች መጥቀስ ይቻላል። በተለይ ግን በብዙ አፍሪካ ሀገራት ከ2010 ጀምሮ ለተከታታይ ዓመታት የተካሄደውና ኤግራ በመባል የሚታወቀው ጥናት ማንሳት ተገቢ ነው። ይህ ኤግራ በመባል የሚታወቀው ፕሮጀክት የንባብ ክህሎትን በአንደኛ ደረጃ ተማሪዎች ዘንድ ለመመዘን የተካሄደ ጥናት ሲሆን ውጤቱም አስደንጋጭ የሚባል ነው። በአፍሪካ ደረጃ ያለውን የትምህርት ጥራት ሁኔታ ቁልጭ አድርጎ ያሳየ ነበር። በጥናቱ መሰረት በመጀመሪያ ደረጃ የሚማሩ አብዛኞቹ ህፃናት 3 እና 4 ዓመታት ትምህርት ቤት ከተማሩ በኋላ አንድም ቃል በትክክል ማንበብ እንደማይችሉ ታይቷል። ይህ የብዙ አፍሪካ ሀገራት ያለውን አሳሳቢ የመጀመሪያ ደረጃ ትምህርት ጥራት ሁኔታ ቁልጭ አድርጎ የሚያሳይ ነው። በ2016 የተካሄደው የዩኔስኮ ጥናት እንደሚያሳየው 40% የሚሆኑ በዓለም አቀፍ ደረጃ የሚገኙ ህፃናት በአፍ መፍቻ ቋንቋቸው ትምህርት እየተማሩ አይደለም። ከነዚህ ውስጥ አብዛኞቹ ተማሪዎች በአፍሪካ እንደሚገኙ ጥናቱ ያሳያል። ዛሬም ድረስ ብዙ ህፃናት በደንብ በማያውቁትና በማይረዱት ቋንቋ እንዲማሩ የማስገደዱ አባዜ እንደቀጠለ ነው። ለዚህ ሁሉ መስቀልቅል ብዙ ምክንያቶች ሊኖሩ ቢችሉም አንዱና ዋነኛው እና ብዙ ትኩረት ያላገኘው የትምህርት ቤቶቻችን እየተተገበረ ያለው የቋንቋ አጠቃቀማችን ጉዳይ እንደሆነ ግልጽ ነው። ይህንን ሐሳብ የሚደግፉ በርከት ያሉ ጥናቶች በተለያየ ጊዜ ቀርበዋል። ለምሳሌ ታንዛኒያዊቷ ማርታ ቆሮ በታንዛኒያ ያካሄደቻቸው የተለያዩ ጥናቶች ይህንኑ የሚያረጋግጡ ናቸው። እንዲሁም የኖርዌይ ተወላጇ ብሩኩትና ከ2000 ዓመተ ምህረት ጀምሮ ያካሄደቻቸው የተለያዩ ጥናቶች ይህንን ሐሳብ የሚደግፉ ናቸው። ስለዚህ ዋነኛው ጉዳይ በብዙ ትምህርት ቤቶች እየተተገበረ ያለው የቋንቋ አጠቃቀም ስርዓት መሰረታዊ የሆነ ችግር አለበት። ይህም የተግባቦት ችግር ነው። መምህራንና ተማሪዎች ሳይግባቡ እንዴት ትምህርት ሊካሄድ ይችላል? ልጆች ወደ ትምህርት ቤት ይዘውት የመጡትን ዕውቀትና ችሎታ ተረድቶ እና ተገንዝቦ ለመነጋገር፣ ለመማማር እና ለመረዳዳት ሁሉንም ወገኖች የሚያግባባ የጋራ ቋንቋ በመሃል በሌለበት እንዴት ዕውቀትን ማስተላለፍ ይቻላል? ይህ የሚያመለክተው የትምህርት ስርዓታችን ከመሰረቱ እንደገና መፈተሽ እንዳለበት ነው። ሌላው ነጥብ ደግሞ ይህ የመደናገርና የማደናገር ሂደት ልጆች በእድሜያቸው ማግኘት የሚገባቸውን ዕውቀት በመከልከል ብቻ አያበቃም። ከዚያም አልፎ ተርፎ በጨቅላ እድሜያቸው ለስነ ልቦና ቀውስ እንዲሁም የራስ መተማመናቸው እንዲያጡ አስተዋጽኦ ያደርጋል። ይህ በጨቅላ አእምሯቸው ላይ የምንጥለው ጠባሳ የእድሜ ልክ የመሆኑ እድሉ ሰፊ እንደሆነ ልብ ይሏል። ሌላውና ትልቁ ጥፋት ደግሞ በቋንቋ ምርጫችን ምክንያት ህፃናት ቀደም ብለው ስለ ህይወት እና ስለ አካባቢያቸው በራሳቸውና ከቤተሰቦቻቸው የተረዱትን ዕውቀት ላይ መሰረት አድርጎ ከመቀጠል ይልቅ አዲስ ጀማሪ እንዲሆኑ ያስገድዳቸዋል። በሌላ አገላለጽ ቀድሞ ያካበቱትን ዕውቀት እርባና ቢስ በማድረግ ይዘውት ለመጡት ዕውቀትና ልምድ ዝቅተኛ አመለካከት እንዲያዳብሩ ይገፋፋቸዋል። እዚህ ላይ መሰመር ያለበት ልጆች ወደ ትምህርት ቤት ይዘውት የመጡት ዕውቀት ከወላጆቻቸውና ከማህበረሰባቸው ያገኙት ነው። በመሆኑም ትምህርት ቤቶች ልጆች ቀደም ብለው የሚያውቁትን ኮትኩተው ከማሳደግ ይልቅ አዲሱን ቋንቋና ዕውቀት ወይም ልምምድ በማስተዋወቅ ጀማሪ እንዲሆኑ ያደርጓቸዋል። ትምህርትን ለልጆቹ ባዳ በሆነና በማያውቁት ቋንቋ ማስተማር የዚህ ተግባር ዋና አካል ነው። በሌላ አገላለጽ ይህ ድርጊት በቤት ወይም በማህበረሰብና በትምህርት ቤት መካከል ትልቅ መነጣጠልና መለያየትን ይፈጥራል። ይህ ደግሞ ሌላው ትልቁ እና አሳሳቢ መዘዙ ነው። በአጭሩ ትምህርት የሚሆነው እና ለልማትም አስተዋጽኦ ማድረግ የሚችለው በቀላሉ በሚያግባባ ቋንቋ ላይ ሲመሰረት የልጆችን ስነ ልቦና ሲገነባ እና ከቤተሰቦቻቸውና ከማህበረሰባቸው ይዘውት የመጡትን ዕውቀትና ልምምድ ሳያስተጓጉል ሲቀር ነው። በብዙ አፍሪካ ሀገራት የሚገኙ ትምህርት ቤቶች ያለው ተጨባጭ ሁኔታ ግን የዚህ ተቃራኒ ነው። ለዚህም በትምህርት ቤቶቻችን እየተገበረ ያለው የቋንቋ አጠቃቀም እንደገና መፈተሽ ያለበት ለዚህ ነው ማለት ነው። እዚህ ላይ ማስረገጥ የምፈልገው ሁሉም ነገር ተስፋ አስቆራጭ ነው ለማለት አይደለም። ብዙ ተስፋ የሚሰጡ እና የሚያበረታቱ ጅምሮችም ተስተውለዋል። ጠንካራና ደካማ ጎናቸውን በሚገባ ፈትሸን መልካም ጅምሮችን ወስዶ ማጎልበትና ማጠናከር ያስፈልጋል። ኢትዮጵያና ደቡብ አፍሪካን ለምሳሌ ለቀረጹት ተራማጅና ድንቅ ሊባል የሚችል የቋንቋና የትምህርት ፖሊሲ እንደ ምሳሌ ማንሳት ይቻላል። በኢትዮጵያ ወደ 90 የሚሆኑ ቋንቋዎች ሲነገሩ በደቡብ አፍሪካ ደግሞ 12 ቋንቋዎች እንዳሉ ይጠቀሳል። ሁለቱም ሀገሮች በአሁኑ ሰዓት ያላቸው የቋንቋ ፖሊሲ ለሁሉም ቋንቋዎች እኩል ዕውቅና ለመስጠት ይሞክራል። ከዚያም ባለፉት ጥቂት 10 ዓመታት ፖሊሲዎቹን ወደ መሬት ለማውረድ ከፍተኛ የሆነ ጥረት ተደርጓል። በኢትዮጵያ ለምሳሌ ባለፉት 3 ዓመታት በተደረጉ ጥረቶች ወደ 52 የሚጠጉ ቋንቋዎች በአንድም ይሁን በሌላ መልክ ትምህርት ቤቶች ውስጥ እንዲገቡና ስራ ላይ እንዲውሉ ተደርጓል። ይህ በራሱ ተአምር ነው። ነገሮች ግን አልጋ ባልጋ አይደሉም። ሙከራው ትልቅ ዓላማ ያዘለ ቢሆንም ብዙ አዎንታዊ ለውጥ ያመጣ ቢሆንም በዛው ልክ ደግሞ ብዙ ችግሮች ገጥመውታል። ለምሳሌ በኢትዮጵያ በፍጥነትና ያለ በቂ ዝግጅት ቁጥራቸው ብዙ ቋንቋዎች በአጭር ጊዜ ውስጥ ለትምህርት መዋላቸው ያስከፈለው ዋጋ አለ። ይህም ከፍተኛ የሆነ የትምህርት ጥራት ማሽቆልቆል አስከትሏል። ይህ የሚያመለክተው ፖሊሲ መቅረጽ እና ትግበራ መጀመር በጣም ትልቅ እርምጃዎች ቢሆኑም ነገር ግን እነሱን ተከትለው ለሚመጡ ስብስብ ችግሮች ግምት ውስጥ በመክተት በተገቢ ሁኔታ መዘጋጀት ያስፈልጋል። ይህ ካልሆነ ግን የሚፈለገውንና የሚጠበቀውን ለውጥ ማምጣት አይቻልም። በተመሳሳይም በደቡብ አፍሪካ የተካሄዱ ጥናቶች እንደሚያሳዩት ምርጥ የሆነውን ፖሊሲ ከወረቀት አልፎ ወደ ተግባር ለማስገባት ብዙ እንደተቸገሩ ይታያል። የትላንትናው ውይይት ይህንን ያሳየ ነበር። ሌላ ትልቁና መሰረታዊ የሆነ ወቀሳ ልጆች የቤተሰቦቻቸውንና የአካባቢያቸውን ቋንቋ በትምህርት ቤት አለማግኘታቸው ብቻ አይደለም። ትምህርት ቤቶቻችን በአብዛኛው የማህበረሰባችን ተምሳሌት አይደሉም። በሌላ አገላለጽ በማህበረሰብ ውስጥ በግልጽ የሚስተዋሉ እሴቶች አይንጸባረቁም። ለምሳሌ ልሳነ ብዙነት የትምህርት ቤቶቻችን መለያ አይደለም። ምንም እንኳን ከግለሰብ እስከ ሀገር ደረጃ የተለመደ እሴት ቢሆንም ትምህርት ቤቶቻችን ከማህበረሰቡ እሴት በተቃራኒ ልሳነ ውህድነትን የሚያቀነቅኑ ናቸው ማለት ይቻላል። ስለዚህ እንዴት ነው ትምህርት ቤቶቻችን ማህበረሰቡን እንዲመስሉ እንዲወክሉ ማድረግ የምንችለው? ልሳነ ብዙነት በአፍሪካ በአህጉር ሀገር በማህበረሰብ በግለሰብ ደረጃ የተለመደ ነው። የኒጀሯ የስነ ልሳን ምሁር ሁሴና አሊዱ በተደጋጋሚ እንደምትለው ልሳነ ብዙነትን እንዴት የጋራ መግባቢያ ቋንቋ ወይም ሊንጓ ፍራንካ አድርገን እንውሰደው ስትል በተደጋጋሚ ትጠይቃለች። ስለዚህ ትምህርት ቤቶቻችን ስለ ልሳነ ብዙነት ያላቸውን አመለካከትና አቋም እንደገና መፈተሽ አለባቸው። ለምን ቢባል የትምህርት ቤቶቻችን የቋንቋ አጠቃቀም በዙሪያቸው ያለውን ማህበረሰብ ስለማይመስሉ ነው። በትምህርት ቤቶቻችን እየተተገበሩ ያሉ የቋንቋ አጠቃቀም ስርዓት በአጠቃላይ ምን ይመስላል ማለት ይቻላል? ሜሪያም በአጭሩ ሲጠቃለል የቋንቋ አጠቃቀማችን በትምህርት ቤቶች ለመግባባት የሚያግዙ ቋንቋዎች አንጠቀምም፣ የልጆቻችን ስነ ልቦና አንገነባም፣ በትምህርት ቤትና በቤት መካከል ከፍተኛ ክፍተት አለ፣ አካባቢያቸውንና ማህበረሰቡን አይመስሉም፣ በችኮላና በይድረስ የታቀዱ የተተገበሩ ይመስላሉ፣ በልጆች በቤተሰቦቻቸው በመምህራኖቻቸውና በመንግስት ስራ አስፈጻሚዎች አካላት የታመነባቸው አይደሉም እና አሁን ደግሞ ገብርኤል ቅድም በደንብ እንዳብራራው በቅኝ ግዛት ሐሳቤና መርህ ላይ የተቸከሉ ናቸው። በመጨረሻ የጠቀስኩት ጉዳይ በራሱ ብዙ ውይይት የሚጠይቅ ውስብስብ ጉዳይ ነው። ይህም ንጉጊ ዋ ቲየንጎ የእጅ አዙር ቅኝ ግዛት ወይም የአእምሮ እና የስነ ልቦና ቅኝ ግዛት ብሎ የተነተነው ሲሆን ከቋንቋ አጠቃቀም ልምምዳችን ጋር በጣም የተያያዘ ነው። ቋንቋ በልጆቻችን በትምህርት በኩል ተመርኩዞ የአእምሮ ቅኝ ግዛት ዋናው መግቢያ ማደሪያና ማስቀጠያ መሳሪያ ሆኖ እያገለገለ መሆኑን መረዳት ያስፈልጋል። ሲጠቃለል መሰረታዊ የሚባሉትን ጉዳዮች ሳንፈታ እንዴት ነው ትምህርት ቤቶቻችን ጥራትና ትርጉም ያለው ትምህርት ሊሰጡ የሚችሉት? የጉዳዩን አሳሳቢነትና አንገብጋቢነት በጊዜ ተገንዝበን ማስተካከያ እርምጃ መውሰድ መጀመር ለነገ የማይባል መሆኑን ማስረገጥ ያስፈልጋል። ለማጠቃለል ቋንቋ ለትምህርትና ለልማት ያለው ትልቅ ሚና ተገንዝበን ጥናት፣ ውይይትና በእቅድ ላይ የተመሰረተ ማስተካከያ እርምጃ መውሰድ መጀመር አለብን። መቼም ጋና ላይ ተገኝቶ ታላቁን የአፍሪካ ቋንቋዎችን ምሁርና ተመራማሪ ኩዌሲ ኩይፕራሃን ሳይጠቅሱ ማለፍ አይቻልም። በተለይ በጥናት ላይ የተመሰረተ እቅድን አስፈላጊነት ባሳየበት እና ሰፋፊ ጥናት ባካሄደበት ስራዎቹ ሊመሰገን ይገባል። ቋንቋ ከመግባቢያ በላይ የሆነና በባህል ስነ ልቦና ታሪክ ጋር ጥብቅ ቁርኝነት ያለው ጉዳይ መሆኑን መገንዘብ ሌላው ትኩረት የሚፈልግ ነገር ነው። ንጉጊ ዋ ቲየንጎ እንዳለው ቋንቋ የአንድ ማህበረሰብ ታሪክ፣ ማንነት፣ ስነ ልቦና ማህደርና ቋት ነው። ሶሻል ሜሞሪ ባንክ የሚለው በእንግሊዘኛ። ስለሆነም የቋንቋን ልክና ደርዝ በተገቢው ተረድተን ቋንቋዎቻችንን ማክበር፣ ደረጃ በደረጃ የትምህርት አካል አጋዥ እንዲሆኑ ማድረግ ተገቢ ነው። ልሳነ ብዙህነትና ጥቅሞቹን ተረድቶ እንደየሀገሩ ሁኔታ ልሳነ ብዙነትን የሚያበረታቱና የሚደግፉ ፖሊሲዎችን መቅረጽ እና የተለያዩ እንቅስቃሴዎችን ማድረግ ትምህርት ቤቶች ለዚህ ኃላፊነት ዋና ሚና እንዲጫወቱ ማገዝ ያስፈልጋል። ስለዚህ የመጨረሻ ስላይዴ ነው። እንደማጠቃለያ ዋናው ነገር ጉዳዩ ከበድ ያለ ነው። ብዙ ሀብት፣ ብዙ ጊዜ፣ ብዙ ጉልበት፣ የረጅም ጊዜ እቅድ የሚፈልግ ጥንቃቄ የሚፈልግ ነገር መሆኑን ተረድተን ለዛ መዘጋጀት ያስፈልጋል። ከዛ በማስቀጠል ደግሞ የቋንቋ ጉዳይ የትምህርት ፋይዳንና ጠቀሜታን ከማጎልበት አንጻር ያለው ጉልህ አስተዋጽኦ በጊዜ ተገንዝቦ የልማትና የእድገት ዋና ተዋናይና አጋዥ ማድረግ ይቻላል በልኩ ከተገነዘብ ነው። በመጨረሻ የትምህርት አስተዋጽኦ የልጆችን እና የማህበረሰብን እምቅ ኃይል አጎልብቶ ለጋራ እድገት ማዋል ከሆነ የየማህበረሰባችን ሴቶች ላይ መሰረት አድርጎ የተገነባ ትምህርት ስርዓት እየተገበረ እንደሆነና እንዳልሆነ መፈተሽ ተገቢ ነው። ስለዚህ ይህን ጉባኤ ለተጀመረውና ሊፋፋም ለሚገባው ትግል ጥሩ ምሳሌ ይመስለኛል። ስላዳመጣችሁኝ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you so much. Actually, our online participants, Somebody said that he suggested that in the future we should have more people present in their local languages because they're really impressed with Amharic. And he's saying that in future, UN can also adapt actually the same strategy and let people come and speak in their local languages. So thank you so much. So now we move to questions and answers. No question?
I hope you are able to follow with the okay.
Okay, so if there is no question, I would like to pick somebody to tell us probably like 1 point they got from the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I have a question, actually, to the presenter here. Thank you. You were very articulate, and not only you, but pretty much everybody who did the presentation. I thank all of you. And the problem been very well articulated. No need to go back there. But moving forward, I see a lobbying opportunity for African language conferences. The need for lobbying is to educate the decision makers, be it in the business sector or otherwise, to empower them, to, educate them, open that door and see what we all see here today. So in that regard, moving forward, what do you see the need or, the opportunity to create a lobbying group to, lobby on behalf of African languages? And how do we go about, forming that organization? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hailu, for this confirmation, and I'm glad that you liked it. Just to say, that's why I keep on saying it's a long-term business. It's a long-term business, so it needs a lot of players. So we need champions for African languages. We need people who really understand that this is something that is costing us dearly, and it, in some ways, a reality on the ground has been created. And we're also dealing with economies or languages that are well-resourced. So it needs a strategy. We need everyone on the table, And then we need people, especially policymakers and lobbyists, to really be a champion to these languages. So I agree that I know you are a business person. You are one of those people who are doing great things for African languages. And I think we need more of you. That's what I can say. And thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you. Somebody else? Just one person? Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. I loved it. So you said education is one of the key drivers of development. And you also talked about reforms. What sort of reforms? From where you are coming from, what sort of reforms have you made at your end there? I shall be grateful to know some of the reforms that you have made at your end. Thank you.
Can you say it, that we have made at?
Yes, you said reforms. So you were saying that education is one of the key drivers of development, and you were mentioning some of the, what you call it, abilities to sustain. That's your presentation. And you mentioned reforms, R-E-F-O-R-M. And I'm asking at your end, what sort of reforms have you made at your end? I'd love to know some of the reforms. Thank you.
I mean, just to speak, I'm from Ethiopia, and the context that I know better. That's what I was saying. The last 30-something years, the language and education policy dramatically changed. And one of the things that the policy does is, it gave equal recognition to all the 90 languages. That was a big reform in its own right. So, and then that opened up. Imagine, now currently we have 52 languages in the school setting. It's huge. It's huge, because those languages were not available 30 years ago. Now, in one way or another, some of them are used as a language of instruction, others are as a subject. But still, it is a big and a huge step that these languages are in the school and students are using them. It's a major reform. But it's also another thing to make sure that they really contribute to quality of education, because they need teachers, they need resources, they need preparation. You know, there is a lot of baggage that comes with it. So it's one reform, but it needs to be also followed up with more reform and with more preparation.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof. Binyam. So before we go to another presentation, I would like to have like 4 people from different languages. I would like to have Sipiwe. Please come forward. Yeah, Sewapiwe, sorry. Sewapiwe. And I know, Prof, you're coming from presentation, but you should also join us for Amharic. I'm trying to find somebody else. You, Swahili, you can also come in front. Dr. Gabriel, please, which language do you speak? Yoruba. Okay. Please come forward. Can I get somebody who speaks Chi? You can, okay, yes, please. Which languages do you speak? Okay, please join us. Thank you. So personally, I refuse to go back to Rwanda without at least knowing something about other languages. No way. It will be a shame, because they'll be like, you went to African languages, what did you bring? Just this? No. So I want us to teach people how to say a sentence in your local language. So you will be like, okay, hello, my name is Miriam Uwingabi. Just that, so to introduce yourself. So I will start in my language, Kinyarwanda. Muraho, nitwa Miriam Uwingabiye. Muraho, nitwa Miriam Uwingabiye. That is, hello, my name is Miriam Uwingabiye. Over to you.
Okay, so I speak Lekwakwan, and we say, Beyemme a champon Samuel. Beyemme a champon Samuel.
So there could be many ways, but the easiest and simplest one is salam. Salam, you can say this, greetings. And Seme, my name. Seme Biniam, no. Seme Biniam is no, so my name is Biniam. Salam, Seme Biniam, no. Biniam, no.
I think for the benefit of those that were not here yesterday, I did this. Molweni igamalam ngusiwaphiwe. Molweni igamalam ngusiwaphiwe. That is in isiXhosa, one of the official languages in South Africa. What does it mean? Molweni, hello. Igamalam, my name, Ngu is Siwaphiwe. Yes. Siwaphiwe, yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. In Swahili, that would be habari. Jina langu ni Rahman Sekela. Habari is hello. Anywhere. Hello. Habari. My name is Rahman Sekela. Jina, J. Jina langu, my name is Rahman Sekela.
In Yoruba, ẹ káàárọ̀, orúkọ mi ni Ayọ̀lá. Ẹ káàárọ̀, orúkọ mi ni Gabriel Ayọ̀lá. Good morning. My name is Gabriel Ayọ̀lá.
I'm standing in for the Asante tree. But I don't know how they say hello. I don't think they have any like hello. We don't have it. Yes. You never greet each other? No, we greet Mache. Maha. But we don't greet hello. We don't, those, Mache is good morning. Maha is good afternoon. Majo is good evening. Okay. Your friend me, Rebecca Arthur. ɛno nso mfa nka twi ana. Yɛfrɛ me Rebecca Arthur. My name is Rebecca Arthur. So Asante Tree. Yɛfrɛ me Rebecca Arthur. That's my name is Rebecca Arthur. The way you are going is more of you are sounding like Fanta or Frem. That's Fanti or Frem. And you know, speaking is a bit different from writing. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Somebody who is very patriotic. I don't know if they say patriotic for the language, but she is here for Ga. Is it how it is? It's Ga. Perfect.
Ojeko, Achomi, Barbara, na Amanua Tete. Ojeko, Achomi, Barbara, na Amanua Tete. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You can be seated. You now actually realize the beauty of our African languages. Please, let's change the narrative. And exactly. So, actually, I wanted to also say something. It is actually good that majority of us here, you're probably a doctor, you're probably a professor. Like, you're one of the people in the society that people look up to. But I've realized the pattern. Majority of the people like us who are called literates or elite in the society, when we have people that we are raising, so you can say children or, people who are being, raised under you, you find that majority of us, we don't really like them to speak our local languages. We want them to go to private schools where they can't really use their local languages. Why is that? So if you are here, let's make sure that we start the impact of African languages dominance within our homes, within our neighbors. Because we can't just come here to the conference, and if later, because we are also connecting, I might meet you somewhere, probably in your house too. And then I will be seeing that your kids can't even speak the Amharic, Ga. Yeah, so let's start from our home so that we can build Africa with our local languages. Yeah, so now we'll go to the next presenter. His name is Sadiq. I apologize if I don't pronounce it correctly. Yes, so Sadiki Shahadu. He is a certified Wikipedia trainer, journalist, and executive director of the Dajani Wikimedia User Group. He sits on UNESCO's Open Education Advisory Board and is Mozilla Open Leader X-Fellow. In other words, he's someone who does not just talk about digital inclusion, he builds it. Yes. So in his hands-on workshop, he delivers in Dajani. He will be
Most people say Dagbani, but it's Dagbanle. Dagbanle. Say Dagbanle.
Dabani.
Or simply say Dagbani.
Dabani.
But the native speakers, because of, I would say, colonization, everybody knows it Dagbani, but the original name is Dagbanle.
Okay, so how do you say hello in Dabani?
We don't, as she said, we don't have such terms like hello, hi. We use based on the time of the day. So right now, I'll say Timasim.
Timasim, good morning.
Yeah.
Timasim. Thank you.
So my session, I will also do like a live demo in case maybe someone is there. I don't know if my interpreter is here. Okay.
So the interpretation is available. People can take the gadget.
Okay. So, Tomasum. Yes, that's a good one. So if me yell me Tomasum, me and yell me na. Tomasum. Okay. Yulum bon sadek shahadu. Kan yi tamale na zungo tien dila fila sanjande Mozilla Common Voice ne teneto nang sham zang te bala we Mozilla Common Voice ko hamzo tabibi sham ti pilege enchanto ne biala tinyala banyan nang zante no nde ti tangal me zo Yehe ben yar shanga dentune te bang zanjende Mozilla Common Voice man. Okay, pelle ne borne slides ma nye dagbanle ama saha de bahamba ne saha kan zo te cheleme selmin selidin en cheka sokam to di de dan fani. To pille tien di la fila zanjende Common Voice di amfane ni yeshele ne de tuma ni yeshele zanjende pohamzo be bangsam bobo sole ni mo so shanga din be Mozilla Common Voice pune nte pahay kana pun yalla ten zanten no di te tangal me ngozo nsabe zampa Mozilla Common Voice ma pune and then kan lan chekate di fila zanjende imal bashanga zanjende program shelting and nangmazo. So Mozilla Common Voice nyala da damanam ne laam ntuhara nsabra kazang da boko koya bahara poham zo di encheka to me machina de mi bala yetoa kato male te bala wore bambol ban shao interneti be automatic speech recognition. Mozilla Common Voice wula kartumda de tumanyela da damana bani laam me pahamzo tabibi bangsam ben laam de zama kabnuto zang baku koya ne sabu satarti mbapo amzo kar wuhur majina ninsal nam neneto difila sham ni pahamzo tabibi Delan yela lo shapolo teneto zante kukoya mbahe Delan tom yela lo shapolo nirbi zamba kukoya bahe kana to che ante table kama ban zamba shabama de ditam kalzo Dimi la nyela lo shapolo ban lam data ka deneto malbi hago zante sokamza zanchang computer tumane tuli ten dola sociale aneto zang aballe mpahe Mozilla Common Voice mazo Mozilla Common Voice nyala demale balapam dengare balatule kulchana tuli ay bor na zanga bal pahay ay chang la platform shi album bonde na pon tu anti mbo abal ma she dinan ka twentinye abal ma yule kabanyele be karba pupanna ayen bolar she ka nzanga balma onwe dien cheka bayen to saadele mpahay Common Voice balamazo dilan pahay dinan ka ache Common Voice mazo de tuyani a lebge ban nan ban yar shanga be ban sabsabr shanga ma zasa nti abalmane bun bol ban sha website shela alabs silmin silmin sha kam din sab silmin silma shela lab silna dagballe den to cheka ban wumde zulia ballama dirdan fane din lam pahnyala dinan kai liabgale dagballama ala en changmati mbo satarsi bombo da ban yar shanga sentences ma kakaranle kar yirna fiyen yala nzambai common voice ma den dong mana dinan kai nan daba atango dan paha nahai anyala be ben yala ben yam zang abalma bai dan paha anu yala kana pun yala ay zang la ku kwale nkaram satar shangaram be de zoma ka liabgale aku kwalne mbai ka nirbi dide dan fane dinan ka azanga aku kwal bai dalan kama tani ilam ndotable kama inzam be shakam nang ma be ku kwal shanga inzam ba pa hanzoma dinyala den de tam kal zo den te pai nyanga ma nyala inang be shakam bien yelma bai kar pai data shangaram be common voice mazo taili dagban le tinzi sa shalon dagban le male kukwaya zampa pishi nanu awapolo so which is 24 hours of recording in Dagban on common voice kare male bukata ni ti difila zanjendi anu to zangle ntum tu shanga so ti keto no difila zanjendi kukwema tene to zangle di amfane shel po hamzo kana pun yalla ay bor na zanga balle bay so kam le to zungo balle bay Mozilla common voice mazo ninden ko nyala ay enkwela common voice .mozilla nti dole nti create da account nti nama da account ay nama da account ma ka yele ane borbal shel na zam bahar zo dinan ka le kar biarne to de nama kari changti ida ka zang a kukwel bahabe shabi zam kukwa pum bai ka chante de table rezo be ka sabsa tarsi nang de pune dan pahnyala data mal ambo ni iyan dile table carton kaso kamza dire dan fan sham okay oh here all right so tamala bambo ne shab team aku ngala kama nimvo shaban lam pahmazo yan tohar sabra be yan zang da ku ko ya bahar da zo so ai kere pune agba zang la man chanti pai bezo karajia ne iza wum la balma demi be jimani akul male balma bansam din tona kama PhD be professor di kunun ka wum da balma ana to hasabe sham agbana to zanga ya targa mbahe kanirba dire dan fan lezo okata bolle crowd source ma de pala lo shele bam pin vo shaba na ba konko ko biara na to har sabra tenen tuma za chang mati jende da dama na bane to la'an tabsham kama ton ku jiawo ki la'an taba ntum tuma kaso kamle to dire dan fan den ye crowd source ma so te tuma zan jende Mozilla common voice te pa Wikipedia ne rekpa to aza zame li ya del zame dalle da damanama ban pangdama be ban za abe be balle to ne chende ay le teji sa achelon ay bor na zanga balle na dinan ka ay kente boy balle ma ka dele be yelma ni a translate ma be a lebgam silma mpa kama 75% dinan ka to lebgale pa 75% ma ka to translate le vien yelanga banyala banyan dihile table common voice ma so di nan tin pier punu ki tinya bal shangaram bierne ne di nan ka bal karne kan wuha social ayen dola ka bal gbachi common voice ma punu sone to boy ayen ku yare to hasabe zan ku kwal bai common voice ma punu wula ka yen to nan zan satarle be sentence be ku kwal bai common voice ma punu tuli de tuyane satarle ma be ayen zan ku kwal shel bahar zoma de tuyane nyela aden tole dene kar nyela nyin sable be amala yiko zan jende an zan ban sha'ana din ka tabo the public domain dimi nan ka ayen polma lo shepolo de tuyaner yila lo shele ban saati kama salone to zan le ba lo shepolo kar malan fane ay le wikimedia temale wikidata ka ay ke wikidata ma pun ban sha kam dem ber pune bo bolle me public domain platform be data karnyela ban lambol de shele cc0 so donc kunan kamata nyela de tuyane sabuma be satarlama nyela nyim maman den be kar yilo shepolo nirbane to zangle di anfane ka sobo bohay de zo de lampa nyela de tuyane satarlama de gare wednam de pinanu de betuner gara wedenam pinanu dilantu yani aike common voice ma de tu ana boile bia akaram satar sma be satar lama karnyela ama man yeto anyele kama aman soni dirfila be aman soni ko en dirfila ka karan le sham be ka dirfila sham dilantu yani abdelo shapolo verne kane domi aile computer zo be artificial intelligence de borla especially ben sharan zanchanti jende ku koya de borla ku kol shel den kunye don kunnen doya ka ko hambu karane be ver karane den kat kama tani ayam zanga ku kol ba ka be lo shepolo verne kane den lam pahnyala ayam mala manga le sabuma vien yala ka karnle den tuner karansham de betuna zang balshel sabu zang gabre pune de kutuner nyala abalma sabu bin lampa nyala ay kenate zanga ko kol bay de tuyana di record ma ka karle ay kul karna de tuyana lan dile kama tin zang satarle be voice message nzam ba whatsapp punisham so ulakate zoro bala tiland la taba nto har sabra kalan yusere bombone shele social media kalan zangde tikpalan zuya chante gare zangama laangunama ne shukurte ban zaabe da balama pune ami ku borna lan to asabe kar yina vien yala be ka so kam dir dan fande tuana azang le nan ni mama bihagune viel shamzan tak an ku borna dwel social kar lunta ka to asabe domi tenan de ban sha kam de zoma de yala yole ka sobe der la arbe ba yorso de zo ay pe kana pun yala yimbe common voice ma pune tuli an yala ngonne to zang satarle mbahdi a sabu mbay be an to zang akukwale mbay den lampahayi dinan ka so zang okukwale bay an yala ngonne to chan nte dele table karwon kama on sab shelma be on karam shelma the tam kallezo. So the tuya kamatane te bang zalpan shanga den be Mozilla Common Voice mazo dinanka aborna pierpune. Dibi nanka sozang balshe satarle be sabre shell nan de pune. Kali kama de pala maybe temal dagban le pune ka temal dagban le pune temal nanunle kamale na yahale kamal tomosele dialects mbala dinan ka ayerla za yingar pune ka so zang kama ayerla dagban le nanunle ka so yer dagban le tomosele ka so yer dagban le na yahale dialects mbala de bahande ne dagban le na yahalaka awumduma de ba wuhna kama so izan tomosel nan de ban so de tuyana mi kama banzan da ban sha so kami sabo den nan de tuyana ami umbongo yalo ko yina o yila na yapolo o yila nanung polo be o yila kumbombe zabzo be savlugo polo so de batuni ayihle ba'ala dinanka verbie akukwelma apune le tuyana yihle be ka lab yale di palala de kutumtuma to wula ka ba zaasere kukwele kana pun yella ai zanga kukwele bahe so male yikono kanati ndile table be ko oyena de bachang dinanka nirba ai kanati yelde akukwelma ba chang bien yihle me common voice ma apune domi do woyane annan shelma de bedone vien yela yan zan la kwe common voice platform azo de ba bande saha ba saatete zo katete nya den tum de tumashon mbang amine to nya internet bi mbala wifi okay umpo think common voice ma punen tinya de tumana chensha tuli ayen kana me nam ada county be yoga ada county den nan kampu mala county mazo so kam ne to o nuche banga yinan ka borne atu hasabe Can everyone take their phone if you want to follow the demonstration? Okay, so I pay common voice map no one yell. Then nan kampu mala account mazo. So benyar shangadem be common voice ma en yela silmin silma wo here kazang dagban legba nti. So I lay platform mazo ungo ka common voice ma tumatumda. Le den wanyala nda county ne lambor nan zan shel wanyala balma ke kan taai mballe ay borna ta balle kam ke ka inchang nte bo balma shi ami borne kana pun yala shem mbe common voice mazo tule anto zang sentences nzam bai be kukwaya so dinan karnyala aborna zangla akukwele nzante common voice mazo te kayen kana te kan yi hele pe de yan cheka so kam dire dan fani den nan ka sabuma nye dagban la ka so kam kuto bang den ye shama yen yihla silmin silma man dagban la mana ka so kam nyerin chensha so ay le ne to hasab shele ne borne nya ne to hasab shel be ne zan ku question aba ay te ka yen chang bombo ne shel dashboard man tinya amine to lante amang anto palamang alkawle zan jende an borna to har sabr sham ay borna nang de la bi akambe bakoy kam be gol kam so che ka ayen to zang akukwel ba arman la te internet ma ba chen vin yala non dia gafara. Okay. So okay. So di nang ka aborni azang aku kwel bai. Den nang ka nirba pun zang sabu pam dem pa kama 20,000 zan chena mbahar zo mazo. Ay kerpun ay nyela sabu shanga den doya kana to karamle so den doya ngodi nan kar nyela te borna te karan lame common voice ma pune ay kana ma be yela de banu nzam bahana ka kana nte di banwo ay di banwo ka karam sabr shelben ye pannaw ka labs bay dimi nan ka sabuma wa ka kuto karle ay anto pa ya ay denye kabiyal pa ya ay so dinan karnya la bor na zang la ko kol ba ay de ba nu kan to non ka di zam ba po mazo foi kan to lan zang dam pai nzan na internet ma ba fiala. Okay. Tumbale bon bi ke ka de dagban le mbami Dr. Isami o kenabe on avokana. Aha, sorry professor, sorry. To nang ya gafra mangba nyona kan jina ma den nan kan sa abe dagbal mazo kan laptamal nan tizang ya targa den to nan ka ntwai sham den cheka dagbal mani mabia languages ma kar du hamzo so yan karan la dagbal ma mpala dagbal karan biya so dinan kan karan karbalu ki tema be ki imbalanang. So na garba ma ndanye na zokule pakpang. So di nan ka bor na karam de tuani amaga manga nkaram dempa tuhamazo. Ka di table kama an karle shama de champion yala point kana di record ma. So den nan ka ndi be valga dagban le karam ma ay malam manga le vien yala kana an karam. So na garba ma ndanye na zokwele pakpang. So buyi kan karma de na bachang na garba ma ndanye na zokwele pakpang amba banga mi de luyabe to so di nan ka nan le kare malla neto zamba yan kana mti di pe bae so kam fom ka wum kana pun yalla de javre ay nan da tu ani vrkani verbe bien iman be nirba be yara be so ko hande be lor nam gata so ayem diala lo chapolo verne kane so ti chama na garwa ma ndanye de be chan kana na garba ma ndanye na zo kwel pakpang. To enable, so let's go. Allow. Okay. Dinan ka ay record karba champion yalanto nyehle. So yan nyehle mai. Kala pilage. Na garba mandanye na zokwel pakpang. So dinan ka ay zambahe anto de wum din yesham cha anya de man la voluma ba yina mba bangami bam beni man ma wum de ku kwel ma be ay di peritu ya na wum ku kwel shele an yama. Please, did you hear anything from the sound or anything? Can you hear anything? No, I can't also hear anything. So ideally, you should be able to listen to the voice when you play here. Maybe my sound, let me switch. Okay. So kamumda. So cha atezang dam pai. So yang pa me ya ngozo. Dam pai ayima nyala nang ma ania kana mal sarama. Cha atowum da bana nyeshele. So dam pahayi ma di nan kar de ba champion yalanto nyehale ba nko enchele mango ka chang hale na de banu mborla dem bo wa ne nan okay dem bo do man la reluya so di nan ka ko to karle nyenden ko nyala yang pahama yaay den nan ka sabuma gal sepama nobel yen ko pi ko ole okay kan lang pa ya ango sintane n zahandi niriba ne batum cha anyahango sintane n zahandi niriba ne batum alhachi na wannan mutu albarka okay disa daba anu kan nan ma dinan ka shelbe luvien yala ne to nyale kalabe yale ba so dinan ka ayaga ku kwale de tuyana anyele ngum karo kabang na kama de champion yala di be champion yala ka lab nyale kalab yaay so deba nu shel ne yaango nyala ngu yan sang la bahay okay zanta so ten ya ku kwal deba nu shel ngo nyala de yan chang common voice pune de lampa ayi de nye wum ma nyala shepolo an to chang nte wum nirba na zang ku kwai shanga bai ka de table dinan kari doni kan le zo so ai lihdem pa tule son yagi o ku kwelma to cha ata dinyanya wada o ku kwelma doni ya be de bachang mbami ami so kamum dan de borne de yiname ki wum le fi ngo ambang ne de champion yala so ayen nang ma I be ayi ima gban nyala de champion yala ayi ma nyala de bachang so de nang kar champion yala ma yen de la I karam pa ayi pu panna dinan ka yen di table de tuane ale sabuma poi kana di ku kwelma ok ngokba champion yala kan di table dan paharata ok ngokba champion yala kan di dan paharana ok ngokba champion yala kan di table dan paharanu ok dan paharanu bala kan di table So the land lab matipsile. The ba anu karlan yihnama. Kan lan nyongogba. Kalan digitable. Den paharata. Dogba luya kan digitable. Den paharana anha. Dogba luya kan digitable. Dogba luya kan digitable. Kan digitable. Dogba luya. Man la ngoba yina vien yala. Ai. Dinan kaso wa kana te di ai be yihla common voice den dong ma pune. Ngoba luya. To diche zaayin be de ba yin kubala. Okay. De luya. Den paharanu. De baluya. Okay. So yen zang mala den nan kate zang kukwele lehe kukwele ma ne piersham. De tuyana tlan lehe ben sabre mpare common voice den dong ma ne sham. Chongo dinan ka male sabu ay le ne karam be sabre shangaren yina kate to zang le wo zamama din yala sabre shele da damanam ne laam kar yi open source platforms ka shanga kulnye nirba ne laam njine nsabe so tra ko la dagban le bible ne dagban le quran nirba ne tiya da na tizang be sabre shanga mpa common voice mazo ai le machine learning be artificial intelligence be language technology din yala ben sha'aram bore sabu pam sabu ma ay galse diniyan cheka diniyan tumtu shelma nan fiyen yala so de bedwale nazang sabu shel din yi maybe pukparlam tuma be politisa tuma be tabibe tuma den to yi lo shel polo kamza ka yi mal adini to anyele bonyele anto zangle mpai ni cheka computer ma bang abalma den yer to sham zanjende biagu computer politisa ne don kulam papai so kengo dinan kan yibor nan sabe mpa common voice mazo kamale ndagban le keyboard teka yankana nzang la dagban le keyboard nan te kan kana te pile. So subshell ne born zam pa mbon yaka abe be yaka abe ayen yelle dagban kana pun yella dinan ka ayen yale dagbal sabu bialara ko kache tan karandele sham so ay le ngombo wum de dagbal o yen karanle o yen karlame yaka abe but ban mi dagbal yeto abamine ayen bwelle bi ayen zangle bay common voice platform azo ayen yelle yaka abe den dwele shambala so dinan ka ay sabango anto zang sabu pam nzam bache dimi nan karnyala zaayin ka borna zam bay akwen sable makaran sabdo ya shamo kakana che ntepi ya shele den yina ami bora akule en cheleme So cha atizang la bahapi. Chong kan yerma di nang karnya la ko la me biya ya la lo shapulu. Ditu yana kana te yihe shapul biya isabe lo shapulu an ya la manama. So dan nang karnya la man sablema. Nuto kul sabe kama mani. Be ndene. Be Chakatil sable kama mbang amin sabuma lui avien yalabe morne yelna manan sable. Okay. Dan mal apostrophe ma be. Okay. 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 To mpaya pam. Mpaya. So dinan ka ay sablongo. Muhur mun kama manan sable. It's my own sentence. Dizalk pana donc be common voice be ne répond bosse chama Zalkban shanga den tu ni azang aza anang denon ku doyango. So CC0 be la abal shele anya kaso nubu parazo. Yeto ashel dem bachinam bopa pinanu. Ami kuto zang yeto abia be yeto akaha mbai. Kalan tom zang de tuyana zang bachi den nang dede kama punctuations mane de sabu zal pana no kunyesham de tuyana azanga za anang de pune. Balshel karpune aile ne sabshel mo dagbal lambala balshel karpune. De tuna asable Karnyala aikwen dial zama dentuna establisham. So di nanka ngozai zan venyela be kartam kalezo. Ayen dila ki karwona kama anang yeda ni common voice zang le tumbe so kam ke common voice ante zang le kubuka ta shele bene bora. Di nanka bensha kami zan dede ayen dila ki zan tai. Mo social kana. Okay, maybe there's a space. Okay. Let me see something. Okay. The moment the ke sabuma pune dem pai anhai labve denye review nirbo pam to zo ya kapture common voice den do ma pune te to har sabra kar kunyala biala kab sabra be ya lam lo shapolo nzanda nang der pune so ay borne akana tele sabuma ni chang vien yala be de chang vien yala Yalango ka ayen kana bombol shele labve. So ay kana labve mane. Nte karam sentence shanga ban yihra nama. So chebe yamne dinyala dem male dabiam pam. Dinyala dem mal dabiam pam ma ay le sabuma de donya vien yala. Kar wura lo shapolo sabungone yina. Dene yina shele inye dagbane Wikimedia community kana pun yalla. Ben to zo ka to har sabre platform ma zo nyala la angu shelbe group shelben bole dagbana Wikimedians community so di nan ka sabungo champion yala yan dihla di nan ka mbami kan di pa yaai dinan kan dihi tabla kama da ba champion yala kan dihi ai dem pahai kan pahai ango timira tola kana pun yala tra tola zangla dictionary yetwa nzan nang de pune so ai le twe din yilo shepulo na de wona kama la sabungo ma yila dictionary shele poham so dagbano comedians nera nye permission na bazam bahay common voice pune na woni yele guda man chang toni ai le sabungo ba dagba chang vien yala so en dihla dan pahata bandiruk ngonyo vum yaai ngogba chang toni de chang vien yala kan de Bekar ngar ma sa shel kam de ba chang toni kan de zamsum titale lemse nin kare de ba chang vien yala kan de kan pa ya ngogba zo bil ko ano gbenne be yasra vibu ngogba I chang to na kan de onwom bangohubo kan diragba dinan kan yi sa da bugu ne sabuma nan la dede kana pun yalla so de tuyana so bakana ante lehle be un review le kakba de table karwona kama de shirnan dede so tonkule labre vere nirbo sabu shambala comment voice pune so the encheka so kam di te workshop ngoma dan fa ni labla silmin silma nte lab yele ka inya din chensham silmin sile zulia balman so I kana silmin silma pune na karam sentence shelban pun zambai de ba kunyala socially den dwale common voice ma zalkpana zo kama no kuzang dagban le ma wosha ten dagban le ma ten zang socially wo dagban le punma la sol ma no ka en zang silmin silma ba be bal kam ana bora bala ma mi zo ya pam dinan ka ay borla kam bon sile de baden nanye shelembon so mborna nzan la ke ka de boase so mal bohago be saha de balan leche how many minutes left?
Oh, you have
more?
Like 5 minutes, but we have a lot of questions, especially from online participants.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, so I think I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we have a good number of questions from the online participants. So the first question came from Mohammadi Al-Hassan. His question is it open to all African languages? He means the common voice.
Yes, common voice. The biente balle kam. Dende nanka balle ma male bombo ne shele aiso code ma anto zang la bay. So it's open to every language.
Okay. So the next question came from Loco. And again, if I don't pronounce the names correctly, please, I apologize. So the next question came from Lako Bile Anemone. So the question is, please, what is the rate of the words allowed?
I don't know whether they are referring to the number of characters.
Yeah, probably, most probably.
So it shouldn't be more than 15.
Okay.
So the words should not be more than 15.
Okay, so the same person, Loco, he has another question that goes like this. Is it possible to add children's books, for instance?
Yes. So you can add any kind of sentence. It could be folk tales, poems, idioms, even religious text, any kind of sentence that is useful to machines.
Okay, so the next question again. So it came from Jane Obuchi. So it's like the speaker should organize a physical workshop on Mozilla Common Voice. The screen is too fast. It's a comment. The screen is too fast for eyes for some of us. So.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have a community, and we've regularly organized Common Voice training. I also serve as a community facilitator for Mozilla, and we have a community in Ghana, and if you are interested, you can just reach out to me. You can leave your message also to the organizers, and then maybe we can be in touch.
Okay, and also if you have something like your email, if you're okay, you can probably project it to them so that they can see it.
Yes.
It would be the best for them to see.
I think my email is on the slide.
Okay, so also the media team can help us drop his contact in the chat section so that it can be easier for people online. Yeah, and I actually have a question too. How can Kinyarwanda be part of the Common Voice? So is it already there? My language, because I'm here, I should speak for
Murakuse, is it correct?
Yeah, that means thank you.
Murakuse Chan.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you so very much. Yeah.
So yes, Kinyarwanda is the biggest language on Common Voice, over 3,000 hours, whereas Dagbani is just 27 hours of recording. So Kinyarwanda is the best in terms of African languages on Common Voice right now.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to ask people if you have a question. Yes, let me get to you.
Okay, Sadiq, I think today is the first time we are in a Jimaku some time ago, and after that you disappeared. Okay, congratulations on what you are doing for Dagbani with your team. There is a bit of worry I have when I look at your entries. You guys are so much promoting loanwares. At a point, you are supposedly trying to do the best for Dagbani. What do you think could be done to minimize? Arabic words are still so much promoted in your entries. Hausa words are still so much promoted. But all those words have Dagbani equivalents. I just saw Alhaji today. Alhaji is not, and there is a Dagbani word that we could have for that. What is your take on that? And secondly, I'm also a bit worried about the insistence on the use of Dagbani to refer to the language instead of Dagbani. If you look at the orthography that was written, the orthography says we should use Dagbani for the language and Dagbani for the cultural practices of the people. So the more you use Dagbani in the system, the more you confuse people. Well, people wonder which language is Dagbani and at which point does Dagbani become Dagbani. What could you do to ensure consistency so that we do not seem to think that we are promoting two different languages? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. So the first question, as I said, we are just like young, passionate individuals who want to help preserve the language. we are not experts of the language, and we always call in for people who understand the language. Recently, we offered grant to people who understand the orthography or those who have gone through the training at Ijumaku to lead training sessions specifically dedicated to Dagbani orthography in our community. So we have Peter Alassane, for example, whom you may know very well, who led sessions that helps people understand how to read and write Dagbani very well. So in terms of the borrowed words, one interesting thing about the community that I work or support is that we allow people to make mistakes and we correct ourselves. The reason is that if you look at, I said crowdsource, if we are going to rely on specific dedicated experts, for example, take Wikipedia, even the English version of Wikipedia, we always say Wikipedia is a work in progress project. It can never, you cannot say the entire English Wikipedia is a static encyclopedia. Every minute, every hour, people go there to make corrections, to fix typos, grammar, and all of that. So that's the beauty of open source. The same way for code or like application, people who build softwares, you have to start something. And even if you look at my presentation, the validation bit comes in. So when I make any entry, everyone has the power to come and review it and fix it. So I may get other things, maybe 50% right, and the rest may be wrong, or maybe 70%, 90%. The good thing is that it doesn't stay as it's supposed to be. Somebody has to review it and validate it. So out of the 27 hours of recording, we only have 9 hours of validated sentences on Common Voice, which means the rest of the recordings are not yet validated. So it is important that we always engage people who understand the language to help us. And like I said, the beauty of the community is that it is subjected to review, it is subjected to amendment, it can be changed. Anything that is written there can be changed continuously at any point in time. So I'm not too worried about that, even though it's a big problem. We wish that we can put them once and for all, and maybe they remain and they are standard for everyone to use it immediately. But we can't have the expert. We don't have so many experts who can just be sitting down, dedicating 24 hours of their life writing content on the platform. So we try to do something and then allow people to peer review themselves, validate and check each other to make it more standard. And that's what governs Wikipedia. The basic policy of Wikipedia is that they say, imagine a world in which everyone can contribute to the sum of all human knowledge. We don't rely on one person's publication. We rely on people's ideas, views. So when you pick any Wikipedia article, you'll be able to see different people leaving their comments, reviewing and making recommendations, suggestions on every article you see on Wikipedia. You pick an article about Ghana, for example, you see the article is written by maybe 100 or more than 100, and the citations are pulled from over 500 trusted sources as citations. So that's the beauty of Wikipedia. If we want to say, oh, it's a static website, like how people write journalistic content on platforms that nobody can edit, or publications, people write books, and then once it is published, unless they do like a second review to be able to make any change. For Wikipedia, you can make any change or any kind of open source. You can always jump in and make the corrections on the go. So that's a response to your question. But again, we are calling on the experts so that it will lessen the amount of borrowed words that we use or the wrong information people might put on the language. It's just a community of dedicated individuals whose passion is centered around language revitalization, cultural preservation, and so on and so forth. The second question, I don't know if I remember that well.
Yeah, we have more people.
Yeah, there was another question that followed up. Yes, from Prof. Yes, thank you. So if you look at our community, a lot of people have fought me on the internet before, on social media, Facebook specifically. Our community's name is Dagbani Wikimedians User Group, and I've always maintained that. And people have made me, they've attacked me, and they always ask, why do you use Dagbani? And just like you said, nobody knows what Dagbani is. if we say Dagbani, and you have also differentiated the two. So the standard name is Dagbani, which we use as our community name, Dagbani Wikimedia. And everything that we do, we always maintain Dagbani as a standard for everyone to understand. But in terms of the native speakers, they have the different meaning to it when you say Dagbanli and then Dagban. But to make everybody understand what he's saying, the standard name for the language is Dagbani. For the language, it's Dagbani everywhere, on documents, everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadiq, for the wonderful presentation and the good initiative. I always say that if it must be done, it has to be done well. And it's a very good initiative. So, but the thing is, what is the end product? Because you keep talking about machine learning, and we are talking about artificial intelligence. It means that the data that you have here eventually will enter our classrooms for children to learn. And so, you're talking about the aspects. Now, I write a thing. Why don't you get reviewers, not paid, because this is a community project? And then you were talking about the aspects. You have people like Professor Issa sitting here. They say that when you stay at the bank of the river, you don't wash your face with saliva. And they are there. So contact them. The people that you said they trained them. And the trainers are there. So you could have invited them to Tamale to just meet the team and train them. But it's a very good initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. If I've sent you a lot of messages previously, and we visited, one of my colleagues, we visited the Ejimako campus in 2017. We've been there like many times, but sometimes you go there and then you speak with them. It was self-funded, like I can just pick car, fund myself, just to engage them more. Because we know the importance of their contribution to the project. But one other thing I would like to share is in terms of how we govern the platform. Just like the English Wikipedia, we have administrators. So Wikipedia has people who review content on Wikipedia. Most people will say Wikipedia is not credible, Wikipedia is not reliable. I don't share the same view, because if people can fact check each other, review content on Wikipedia, I don't think it's not credible or reliable. Because when you pick any article, as I said, for example, English Wikipedia, an article Ghana on English Wikipedia, you see so many references that says that everything that is published there has been sourced from other external credible and trusted sources. So yeah, it is very important that we work with them, and that has always been my goal, and I've always looked out for experts like him and many other volunteers. But one thing about the community is that we want to give everyone the opportunity to contribute to the platform. So if we say Wikipedia should be written by only the expert, like the English Wikipedia, right now I can just jump on Wikipedia and then make any correction, fix an error grammar, and then walk away. That's my little way of contributing to the platform. It doesn't mean that I write everything on the platform. So we see that the tiny or minor contributions of everyone count, irrespective of their knowledge of the platform. That's the same way we try to control the platform, by allowing other aspects to be like reviewers, patrollers, administrators, and they have different rights that they check. When you write wrong content, because the Dagbani Wikipedia or the local language Wikipedias are not that huge, we don't have that kind of control at the moment. But with time, you see that there will be a lot of aspects. And for the approval of every language on Wikipedia, you need an expert review. The Wikimedia Foundation requests that we submit someone who understands the language. I don't know if it was you that I submitted for Dagbani or someone else from Ejimako. It's just many years ago who reviewed for the approval of Dagbani, and then like for it to be added as one of the languages on Wikimedia platform. We've done that since 2019. I've been able to support 6 languages, Ghanaian languages, Dagbani, Groni, Dagari, Kusal, Wali, and Mori. When I was in Accra, before I started the local languages, I was supporting Shi and the Ga community and the Ewe. So it's very important that we collaborate, as we've been saying since yesterday. It's not one person's work, and most of the times, we always look out for people like experts in the community. And then the use of all that we are contributing to is, for example, the Common Voice platform. You can create machine translation applications. We've worked with Kaya application. I'm sure most of you already know. I worked directly with Dr. Paul Azunre, which helped us integrate the Dagbani language and Gruni on the platform, where you can translate Dagbani and English and vice versa. It also supports automatic speech recognition and text translation. You can also use this data to build like digital dictionary, live digital dictionaries, where when you read the word, you see the descriptions. For Wikidata, you can even have like the forms that language, the sentence or word is used, the pronunciation, even the pronunciation variety of that language, different ways that you can use to build digital content using Common Voice and then Wikipedia and Wikidata content. So yeah, there are several uses: machine learning application, educational tools that people can use to learn languages, and you can create a lot of content using Wikipedia Commons. So there are so many uses, as we already know, for automatic speech recognition and text translation applications.
Okay, do we have, you wanted to ask a question? Any question? Okay, so we have another question from an online participant. His name is Wailula. I don't know how to pronounce the other one, so he just knows that he's the one, or she, that she's the one I'm talking about. So the question is, do you have a tutorial on YouTube so that they can probably go there and learn more about what you're doing?
Yes, for Common Voice, we have 3 platforms. This is commonvoice.wikimedia, Mozilla, and then you can also go to, I'm not on the screen. There's also Common Voice Data Collective, where you can see all the resources. And then there's one where you make a request for your language. Okay. So if you go to this platform called Mozilla Data Collective, you would see, still not visible. Okay.
All right.
You see a lot of data sets on different languages. Let me see. Okay. So for Kenya, Rwanda, as I said, they have over 50 gig of data, which is huge for any kind of project. One interesting thing we recently launched is the public API, where you can directly connect data from Common Voice to any kind of project that you are building, if it's open source. And then you can simply download all the data set for Kenya, Rwanda on Data Collective. But we have a community. You can go to LinkedIn and follow Common Voice Data Collective. You can make a request, and then they will add you to a platform called Elements, where you can engage more. And then if you go to YouTube, you can see a lot of recordings on Common Voice and how you can contribute to the platform. So this is another platform that you can get all the data sets. And there's another one called... pontoon.mozilla. Here you can do all the translations. For Dagban, we have only 62 validated sentences. Here you can find teams and communities. You can send them direct emails to be added if you are a speaker of one of the languages. Yeah, so these are the contributors for different languages. And then you can always reach out to them. Most of them have their emails. For Dagbani, specifically, you can see all the translators. With their emails, you can reach out to any of these translators. I don't know if that answered your question.
Okay, so we have another question that is also coming from online. The person is called Samuel Boateng, if I'm not wrong, but I think I tried. So the question is, in the era of digital exploitation, especially in the AI era, how can we guard against it? And when we are using Western platform over which we are in Africa, do not have control over these platforms? Are we not exposing ourselves to too many or too much by submitting so willingly such data over which we have no oversight, in which we cannot use ourselves to create our own tools? In reference to Prof. Falola's speech on advantage of artificial intelligence and the future of Nigerian tertiary education. Thank you. That was.
All right. Thank you. I think my understanding is the question is asking about platforms that are built by Western organizations, and then we Africans are contributing to the platform. Most of the projects that I support or work on are mainly open source, which is projects that are contributed by the community themselves. So if you look at this platform, even though the website is hosted by Mozilla, every information or data that is added to this platform is done by the community. So you have full control of the platform. You write content that, as I said, you validate each other, you make sure everything is written the way it should, paying attention into cultural context, every form of orthography, just making sure that the right thing is done. So most of the projects on Wikipedia, Mozilla are contributed by the community. That's basically what I can say with regards to this.
Thank you. Oh, sure. No problem.
Thank you. So if I understand what the individual asked, yes, the person is concerned about opening up ourselves to the West based on the information we provide on some of their platforms that were hosted by the West, right? Now, the truth of the matter is, we are already, if the person, for lack of vocabulary, the word expose simply says we are already exposed. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, too, because we are stakeholders as well, we are providing the information, we are supplying, building on their host. They are the hosts, we are just providing some of those things. So I wouldn't say that we cannot, because of the fear, like, they will know everything, except what anybody don't want to know already. Everything is already known. So if you get that point, everything is already known to that individual. So we should not, because of that, pull back and not explore what is out there. That would be my contribution.
And I share the same view with you. As I said, most of the things that we do are things that matters to us. If we don't write them ourselves, nobody would do that for us. So once there's a platform that gives you the power to tell your own story, I think it's best to take advantage of that and utilize it in a way that matters to you. Other than that, people would write content about us in their own way. So take Wikipedia, for example. We have all these language versions of Wikipedia, not because we want to expose our culture. We want to tell our story. We want to write content about our own self. We want to tell everyone what these people are, their culture, their way of life. The only things that we pay so much attention to is like cultural content or things that are kind of like secret or sacred. There are cultures, rituals, or rites that are seen as not they are not supposed to be in the public domain. They are kind of like sacred. Those ones, we always get the views from the community. We seek their permission, and if they allow some part of the content to be added, like the Wiki Loves campaigns that we organize, we do Wiki Loves Folklore, Wiki Loves Africa, Wiki Loves Monument, Wiki Loves a whole lot of projects that helps us document our way of life, culture, folk tales onto the Wikimedia platform, like contributing media files, audio visuals, and audio recordings. So these are all things that we pay attention to, but on the flip side, I think it is best for us to take advantage of these platforms and tell our own stories. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you're one of the people who are actually saving African languages from what people are talking about them. So thank you so much. Yes. Please clap, 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 clap. Clap. So actually, what I love about this African conference is that we are actually providing solutions to even support what other people are already doing to support our African languages. Because I love what one of our doctors just suggested to him, so that he can improve common language, common voice even, to make it even a better platform. So thank you so much. And also I love the way Dr. Gabriel mentioned that he went to the US, but he refused to change his African way of speaking. I don't want to say accent because it's not. And because I have many people that I know, once they step out, they come back with, American accent. It's like they don't know how to say water again. It's water or something like that. So it's really important, because just like the way we learn to listen to their English, they should also learn to listen to our language or even our English. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you. So that brings us to our lunchtime. We are going for lunch, and just like the way we did it yesterday, it is at the same place. I don't remember the name of the place, but it's Pog something. I don't know how to say it, but it's just the way it was yesterday. Yeah, so we can go for lunch. You can keep on connecting, have more conversation, exchange contacts. Yeah, I will be so happy to talk to more people just like we did yesterday. And we are coming back exactly at 1. So, yeah, thank you so much.